When you're going to sleep and a day comes to an end, what gives you the sense that it was a day well lived? What makes you think that it was a good day? If you've been touched, even slightly, by the spirit of contemporary culture, you probably think about it in terms of effectiveness, productivity, and achievement. What did I do today? Did I do something good? Did I do something wrong? Did I do much? Did I do much of what will bring me closer to my goal? Did I do everything that was on my to-do list? You would think that the global pandemic would change the way we approach life. You would think that we would finally come back to what is really important. We would come back to the roots. We would come back to love, compassion, brotherhood, sisterhood, any kind of hood. Just scroll through your Facebook feed and you'll notice lots of webinars promising to teach you productivity, how to stop procrastinating, and generally how to make the most out of the pandemic. Well, you could say, what's wrong with that? Isn't it good to be productive? Isn't it good to have your goals and achieve them? Perhaps it is. I have no idea. But the question is, if we've used so much energy on being productive, practical, and pragmatic, how much energy we will have left to love? This Sunday is Palm Sunday, so the Gospel is very long, but I would like us to focus on Mark 14, verses 1 to 15. Now the Passover and the festival of unleavened bread were only 2 days away, and the chief priests and the teachers of the law were scheming to arrest Jesus secretly and kill him. But not during the festival, they said, or the people may riot. While he was in Bethany, reclining at the table in a home of Simon the leper, a woman came with an alabaster jar of very expensive perfume made of pure nard. She broke the jar and poured the perfume on his head. Some of those present were saying indignantly to one another, "Why this waste of perfume? It could have been sold for more than a year's wages and the money given to the poor." And they rebuked her harshly. "Leave her alone," said Jesus. "Why are you bothering her? She has done a beautiful thing to me. The poor you will always have with you, and you can help them any time you want. But you will not always have me. She did what she could. She poured perfume on my body beforehand to prepare for my burial. Truly I tell you, wherever the gospel is preached throughout the world, what she has done will also be told in memory of her." The Judas Iscariot, one of the 12, went to the chief priests to betray Jesus to them. They were delighted to hear this and promised to give him money. So he watched for an opportunity to hand him over. On the first day of the festival of unleavened bread, when it was customary to sacrifice the Passover lamb, Jesus' disciples asked him, "Where do you want us to go and make preparations for you to eat the Passover?" So he sent 2 of his disciples, telling them, "Go into the city, and a man carrying a jar of water will meet you. Follow him. Say to the owner of the house he enters, 'The teacher asks, where is my guest room, where I may eat the Passover with my disciples?' He will show you a large room upstairs, furnished and ready. Make preparations for us there." What is one of the most precious things that we have? Or perhaps the most precious thing? What is it that we are afraid to waste? I don't know what it's like in your case, but in my case, my automatic response would be life or time. We generally don't want to waste them. We think they are precious, we appreciate them, and that's great. But the question is, what does it mean to waste your life? What does it mean to waste your time? What is a waste and what is not? These words, the accusation in the gospel, why this waste, we often hear them ourselves before we want to do something that seems counterproductive or something that we were taught to think of as counterproductive, as useless, as not pragmatic. But the problem with love is that it often seems impractical and not very useful and not very pragmatic. This is why often automatically, before we pour out our hearts in love, before we break that alabaster jar that glass bottle of perfume, we may hear thoughts in our heads accusing us like, why are you doing this? It's a waste of your time. You should use your precious energy on something else. Do you think somebody will appreciate that? If you pour out your heart, you will have nothing left. You'll be a vulnerable victim. Wouldn't it be better to give it but on your terms, as a noble benefactor to somebody who you can control? Wouldn't it be better to use this energy to accumulate some goods for yourself? Wouldn't it be better to use this life energy for your own gain? Wouldn't it be better to spare it instead of pouring out all of that and get ridiculed? Why this waste? When it comes to productiveness and efficiency, we can produce numbers, we can provide data, evidence, we can demonstrate that our lives amount to something, that we did something with our lives, that we have something to boast about. When it comes to love, we can do no such thing. We cannot provide arguments in favor of love and demonstrate how it's beneficial for humankind, how it's useful and good, and how everybody should get involved, because if we did, it would no longer be love, but it would be a means to an end, which love can never be. It's very hard to live for something that is meant to be wasted. Because if you choose to love, you may just hope that you won't get hurt, but on the other hand, you may be sure that at some point you will. So why love after all? Last week we mentioned C.S. Lewis, who talked about the glass coffin that can surround our heart, preventing us from participating in life and making our hearts irredeemable. So if we don't break that glass bottle of our hearts, if we don't let it be broken, we will remain disconnected from life. We will look at life through a glass wall, but we won't participate. But that, I think, is still not an argument in favor of love, because love cannot be a means to an end. It has to be something more than just a way to cure you from your loneliness. I think one good reason to love is simply because it's possible. As simple as that. Why this waste? Because love is meant to be wasted in huge amounts. I think people who rebuked this woman in the gospel weren't really good stewards and managers who would have used this money in a better way. I have the feeling that seeing what she did, they perhaps realized something. Maybe they realized that by being so well organized, so prudent and proper, they may have wasted something way more precious than the perfume. The next thing we read about in this gospel is betrayal. Betrayal of love by the proper, good people. Betrayal by people who didn't want to see anything wasted. Betrayal by people who just wanted to follow the rules. Now, I know that the general image of a religious person is that of a person who is very nice, very kind, and never uses ugly words. What? The facts are different. We are not supposed to be well adjusted to fake propriety. God is extravagant in love, and He invites us to the same extravagance, to break through that glass wall, to pour out all the love that we have at a given moment, whether somebody accepts it, whether somebody makes fun of it, or maybe accuses us of lack of good reason. So I think that's a good reason to meditate on this gospel this Sunday, 10 p.m. Central European Time. If you are contemplating starting an extravagant lifestyle and you don't know where to start, why not start tomorrow or today?